Okay, this was a question we gave for extra credit, and I was really happy to see a lot of people not only attempt the problem, but got it right. So I would say for the most part, people reading this, they get tripped up on something. What they get tripped on is the wording of it. But this looks sort of familiar except for the letter. And what I want to point out, if I were given this problem, and certainly in Math 119, I wouldn't use the letter N, I would use the letter X for you. So I'll write that down for you. This is what it would look like. And I'll tell you what the instruction would look like at the Math 119 level. Here they say solve. The method we have for solving these things are nonlinear inequalities is we would get it compared to 0. So let me see if I can do that. Let me make sure I copied it correctly first of all. I didn't. That's x4. Let me make sure I did that right. 6x. Yeah, I think I did it right. So I'm going to solve it for 0. So it's going to be x4 minus 6x cubed minus x squared plus 6x less than 0. Now, by the way, I know that's not their question. I'm just saying I need to make things familiar. Like most things, they need to be made familiar. I'd factor out a cube. And would that give you x minus 6? Here I'd factor out the minus x. You get x, excuse me, minus 6. I just want to make sure I did this right. X cubed times x is x4. X cubed times minus 6x cubed. This will give me minus x squared. That would give me plus 6x. What do I notice now? There's a common factor between the two terms. There were 4, now there's 2. What's common factor? X minus 6 and then x. There's 2 common factors. What are you left off with? X squared minus 1. What would I do now? I'd continue to factor. And again, I'm just relating this back to what we've done in Math 119. I would list the zeros on a number line in proper order. The first 0 I notice is x equals 0, then x equals 6 over here somewhere abouts, and then x equals minus 1 over here about, and x equals 1 over here about, right? Again, I want to repeat this. I know that's not their question, but that's not the point. The point is that I'm familiar with a question that looks similar to this one over here. We'll get to their question later. What are you supposed to do now? Take test points. So a good test point over here would be like 7. I'm going to say 2 over here, a half, minus 1/2, minus 2. Let's try 7 first. And again, I'm trying it in this over here, just for sign. What would you get? Plus, 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 plus. All the factors are positive. So clearly that's not less than 0, not shade that in. Let's try the 2. What would you have there? Whoops, sorry about that. You would get plus, again, I'm plugging it in here, minus, plus, plus. This is negative. Negative numbers are definitely less than 0. So I shade that in. Let's try half. You get plus, minus, plus, minus. What does this give you? Positive. I would not shade that in. Let's try minus 1/2. What do you get? Minus, minus, plus, minus. What does that give you? Negative. Let me shade that in. Let's try minus 2. You get negative, 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 negative. What's that? Overall, it's positive. I would not shade that in. Now, if I were writing this down in Math 119, my answer now would be, well, minus 1 to 0, union 1 to 6. And I'd put a box on it and call it a day. That's what you did in Math 119. And when did you do that? Well, I was like going back to the very first class. So what I want to do is I want to say, what was their question? No, that was not their question. Their question was, how many integers satisfy that? Well, I'm going to go over here and say, what integers are in this intervals? I would say there's none here. There's no integers in that interval. Like between minus 1 and 0, there are no integers. Are there any integers on this interval? And there are. For example, what's the first integer I would see? I would see the integer 2. Then I would see 3. Then I would see 4. And then I would see 5. And these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 integers that occur in that interval. All right. What was your question though? How many? So how many? I would say there's 4. All right. This for a lot of students looks like it's a tricky question. And in fact, it is tricky. What throws people is the integers. So what some people will try to do is really the wrong way of doing it. But really what you need to do when you're looking at any question, use prior knowledge. If you have prior knowledge, use it. It's probably going to work to solve the question. And did we use prior knowledge? Yeah. We went back to what we did in 119, well, we're in 119, and we solved an inequality. And then I rethought the question and says, how many integers are there? I looked at my answer and I said, well, gee, there's 4 integers. All right. Again, this is all typed up for you here. Thank you for again participating. Certainly, I'll give you more as time goes on. I'm also thinking about giving a makeup test, but right now, let's not worry about that. All right. So let me stop that and close this out. Okay.